Okay. Shit. Hold on. Shit. News for the poor! Here we go! We're gonna cover this, Farkas and I are gonna cover this Oklahoma State University. Study on photosynthesis. You gotta use the sheet, man. Okay, yep. Here we go. News for the poor. Yep, there's a new cat here. This is GigaChad. You can tell, he's quite large. He's much bigger than Farkas. Well, don't, come on. Come on. No fighting. Okay. I mean, this cat is enormous. Look at him. He's massive. He's GigaChad. This is the GigaChad cat. Oh, he's gone now. He's not cool with it. Welcome to News for the Poor, where today Farkas and I are going to talk about this Oklahoma State University study that was published in 2023 on photosynthesis. I picked this study specifically because it does not say anything about the weather outside. So nothing to do with induced things. I know we have to start talking in code about this. HLA-6723. And I've highlighted some things here that what the shit is going on? This is Snot. He's sick. I don't. They're all feral cats. I don't know what any of this is. I have no idea how I got to petting them. And then like one day, they were all like, we're cool with you now. I think maybe I got fleas. I think maybe that's it. But this is Snot, this is Farkas, and that's GigaChad. You can't see him now, but you saw him earlier. So here we go. Generally, doubling ambient CO2 level to, i.e., 700 to 800 parts per million, can make a significant and visible difference in plant yields. An increase in ambient CO2 to 800 to 1,000 parts per million can increase yield in C3 plants up to 40 to 100% and C4 plants by 10 to 25% while keeping other inputs at optimum level. Plants show a positive response up to 700 to 1,800 parts per million, but higher levels of CO2 may cause plant damage. And here's a graph, I'll put this up here, will show you very simply. No Orwellian doublespeak here at all. What the arc is for the potentiality of plant growth with higher ambient CO2 levels in the atmosphere. It gets more interesting. I'll tell you what. This is news for the poor. I love it. I love it. We are here for you. No conflict of interest. I'm just telling you the science. The science behind it. Ah! The science behind it. The science behind it. Yeah. In general, CO2 supplementation is the process of adding additional CO2 into the greenhouse, which increases photosynthesis in plants. Although benefits of high CO2 concentration have been recognized since the early 19th century, growth of the greenhouse industry and indoor gardening since the 1970s has dramatically increased the need for supplemental CO2. I wonder if Bill Gates is in that business. And I think this puts to bed Bill Gates' big plan to bury all the trees. Don't plant them, bury them all. While you're burying all the trees, I'm going to build that shield. We're going to block out the sun. Then I'm going to make you use your prepaid UN debit cards to rent the sunlight. That sounds about as rational and as deranged as Bill Gates sounds. Yeah, we gotta do
the science or we're gonna do it?
Well, we're doing the science right here, buddy.
Billy, come on, Billy. Bill Gates, hey, Bill.
Bill? It's Epstein calling. Bill. It's Epstein, Bill. Are we gonna bury the trees, Bill? Are we gonna bury the trees? Did you bury me, Bill? After all the good times we had. Why did you bury me, Bill Gates?
With the development of improved lighting systems, environmental controls, and balanced nutrients, the amount of CO2 is the only limiting factor for maximum growth of plants. So the only limiting factor is the fact that we haven't pumped enough CO2 into the atmosphere yet? So we can all have bigger plants and some more advantages. I'm going to get to those right here, because I got the advantages and the disadvantages that relate to what I'm kind of talking about, but not really. We all know that climate crisis is the most dangerous thing facing the planet right now. And we all have to stop. My carbon footprint is nothing. Increase in photosynthesis results in increased growth rates and biomass production. What do they mean by biomass production? I wonder. Let's get to the bottom of that, shall we? Plants have earlier maturity and more crops can be harvested annually. So you're telling me that according to this Oklahoma State University study on photosynthesis in plants, that if we pumped more CO2 into the atmosphere, we'd have a higher yield of crops? Wow! Does Bill Gates know this? Somebody get this guy on the phone. Higher CO2 in the atmosphere in regards to farming helps reduce the need for excess fresh water, or what the Bangladeshi like to call sweet water. So you're telling me that according to this Oklahoma State University scientific study on photosynthesis, that if we pump more CO2 into the atmosphere, we don't have to use nearly as much water in farming, and we get more crops to feed more starving people so we can have progressivism equality? If we just get busy and pump more CO2 into the atmosphere? Have these people been rounded up and disappeared yet? What is this? Here's something that's interesting. Oh, wait, there's some disadvantages. Hold on, I gotta read these disadvantages. Plants may not show a positive response to supplemental CO2 because of other limiting factors, such as nutrients, water, and light. Bill Gates, you cannot block out the sun. The plants need it. How can you give them UN prepaid debit cards to pay for you to let them use the sun when they need it? Science says so. Right here. Are you having a psychological issue? Are you breaking down over the Epstein thing?
He's dead, so you have to be careful, right?
Try me. Excess CO2 levels may be toxic to plants as well as humans. Let's refer back to the first page to find out exactly what too much CO2 in the atmosphere means. 1,800 parts per million. Hold on, what are we at now? Hold on, I want to flip to the end here because I've made some notes. In 1900, it's estimated, because they don't know, it's estimated, now it's just under 420. Maybe it's 420 now. I don't know. It depends on when you read it. But, just in general, that's 139 parts per million increase in 125 years. So, roughly 1.1 parts per million annually, it ticks up. I didn't do the math to figure out how many years at our current output it would take to reach 108 or 1,800, but I'm sure you get the point. There's not really a sense of urgency around this type of thing unless there's a grift involved. That's like the number one thing in Sales Tech 101, if you want to talk about the science of salesmanship. is a sense of urgency. And you gotta keep up with the Joneses. You see, if France and Germany and everybody else that's progressive, woo, that goes to the COP 30, should be COP Infinity if you really wanted to be super progressive. You're not just future dating all of your conferences 5 years anymore. We're going infinity! To infinity and beyond!